My name is Sylvester Bowie. I'm currently a professor of social work at California State University in Sacramento. I am from the class of 78, and I found these yearbooks and decided to do a walk down memory lane. I'm doing this in honor of our pioneers, the batch of 75 and the graduating class of 1978. I do want to use this opportunity to remember our pioneering group and the foundation that they laid, the steps that they walked, the indelible imprint that they have left behind for those who would follow. So, this historical record, walk down memory lane, is in honor and in celebration of our pioneering class of 1975 that attended Sam Sharpe Teachers College. Some have gone on to glory. May their souls rest in peace. Others have retired from teaching. Some have migrated, and some are still making their contribution both in education and in other fields. And wherever you are, pioneers, a big shout out for your spirit of adventure and your willingness to lay the foundation as you did for those of us to follow. Um, and so this is a tribute based on the record as found in the yearbook for your group.
Coat of arm of the college, and you'll see the flame and the cross and the book, and what more fitting design for a college. And as the founding principal, Dr. Simon Clark would say, service, commitment, excellence, service, commitment, excellence, service, commitment, excellence. Those are words that are ingrained in every Sam Sharpe student, but especially those of us that attended in the early years. I attended Sam Sharpe 1978 to 1981. My group, the 78 batch, we were the first group after the pioneers graduated. So the pioneers came 1975 and graduated 1978. And the group that I belong to, we started 1978 and graduated in 1981. Here is a piece of history to add to this historical record or story being told. Congratulations, all pioneers, the graduating class of 1975, from the Board of Governors, the principal, and the staff of Sam Sharpe Teachers College. And this is a keepsake that should bring back a lot of memories to some of the people who were in that pioneering group, most of whom are still alive, some of whom have passed on. We salute you for this memory. The historical record. Um, this slide shows, or at least part of the slide shows, the then Governor General, and I want to read a part of the message that was shared by the Governor General. Um, And by the way, the Governor General then was Sir Florizel Glasspool. And he said, I am more than pleased to send you a message to your magazine, the aim of which is to commemorate the actual opening of Sam Sharpe College in 1975 and to take note of the fact that the first batch of Pioneer students will shortly be leaving. I'm pleased because despite the fact that fate decreed that I would not see my work for the establishment of that college completed, I feel very proud that it was my decision when I was Minister of Education in 1972 which caused the college to be sited where it is now. Originally, it was planned to site it in Savannah Lamar. On my becoming Minister of Education again in 1972, and after looking at the relevant facts, I decided that the college should be sited near Montego Bay. Assisted by the Honorable Howard Cook, eventually it was constructed where it is now. I became Governor General in June 1973, and so I could not see my mission accomplished. That has made me no less proud of the contribution I made. I'm going to move on to towards the end of the Governor General's statement. The mere name of the college should give the student a special sense of purpose in their career. Sam Sharpe was confident that half measures could not achieve his goal, but he mixed nerves of steel with a sense of humility. The graduates have a great deal to learn from the life of Sam Sharpe. May they be pioneers in this new Jamaica we're trying to build, but let them always remember. And the quote is, in this world, a broad field of battle, in the bivouac of life, be not like dumb, driven cattle, be a hero in the strife. End quote. That's the message from Sir Florizel Glasspool, the Governor General, who, in his words, was the Minister of Education when Sam Sharpe Teachers College was conceived and the idea of locating it in the place it now sits in Granville, St. James. Next, we have the message from the sitting Prime Minister then. And he says, I'd like to congratulate staff and students of the decision to publish a magazine to mark the graduation of the first batch of students. May I, at the same time, extend special greetings and congratulations to the graduating class on the completion of your course of study and offer my best wishes for a satisfying and rewarding teaching career. Michael Manley continues, no nation can progress unless its people are educated. This is particularly true in developing countries like Jamaica, which suffers from a shortage of skilled personnel, not only to take advantage of available technology, but also to create technologies appropriate to our need and level of development. This is why the work you do is of such vital importance. You begin the process of education, inculcating in your student the attitudes to work and to the nation which will fashion their behavior patterns in later years. He says Jamaica need dedicated and disciplined people who work for the development of the nation for no other reason than through a sense of patriotic commitment and love. We need people who have developed the capacity to look at our resources and realistically set their goals based on our capabilities. None of this will happen overnight, and none of this will happen unless you yourselves are committed to the development of the nation. In the days ahead, you will have to improve, adapt, and exercise your imagination to devise means of motivating students to their particular love of country and also an acceptance of your motto: commitment, service, excellence. I am confident that you are equal to the challenge, and I send you my best wishes, Michael Manley. And the leader of the opposition, Edward Siaga, it is for me a special privilege to be able to send a message for inclusion in the magazine being put out by the batch of student teachers to graduate from Sam Sharpe Teachers College. You, the first batch of graduates, are to be envied for the exciting future which I'm sure lies ahead of you. And I urge you in your undertaking to project the image and the ideals of our national hero, Sam Sharpe, for whom your college is named. I have every confidence in your ability to work for the betterment of your country and to be a credit to it. And I send you my best wishes for success in your chosen profession, Edward Siaga.
Additional contribution came from the current Minister of Public Service, who was the Honorable Howard Cook, who was the Minister of Education at the time of the inception of the college. And in his message, he mentioned that the naming of the college in 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 his honor, that would be in Sam Sharpe's honor, was designed not only to perpetuate his memory, but to give inspiration to those who will be privileged to attend the college. The Honorable Howard Cook further mentioned that during the last 3 years, it is obvious that the principal, the staff, and the students have recognized that Sam Sharpe Teachers College has a unique role to play. Set on a hill, its beacon light must serve to enlighten, to inspire, and to lead in the processes of change. He concluded, may I be permitted to express my appreciation for the impact that the college has made on the community. As you strive for excellence, you will influence the spiritual, social, cultural, and economic life of Jamaica. Accept my heartiest congratulations for the growth and the success of the college in so short a time. Also, the message from the current Minister of Education, who was the Honorable Carl Ratchery, and he said, we are all very concerned about the quality and the relevance of education provided in our institutions. Quality education is central to the government's aim to break the vicious cycle of illiteracy, innumeracy, and unnecessary remediation which now plague the system. He concluded, the college has made en- an enviable start and has developed a number of programs which augurs well for the progress of the institution. May I take this opportunity to congratulate all the staff and students on the occasion of your first graduation ceremony and to wish you all continued success. H. Carl Rattray, Minister of Education. And then the Member of Parliament for the area was Francis Tolo, and he said in his message, it is a great honor to be asked to write a message for the magazine to commemorate the opening of Sam Sharpe Teachers College 3 years ago. At this time in Jamaica's history, the role of teachers is becoming increasingly important as we set out to guide our many young people along the path of nation building. Our teachers' colleges play a great part in training young men and women to carry out that task. And he concluded, I know that some Sharp Teachers College will grow from strength to strength with the same spirit and determination to reach its goal as Sam Sharp, our great national hero, was determined to fight for the Jamaica of his dream and and paid the ultimate price for his belief. There was also a message from the board of governors, particularly from the chairman. And as you can see in the bottom right half of your screen, the numbers 1 through 4, I'm going to share the message there that was included, but I want to read the opening statement from the chairman, who was E.A. Barrett, his closing thought, and the messages. My first thought is one of gratitude to you all for the splendid cooperation you gave at the time of entry to the college. Your board of governors and your principal ventured to bring you in spite of the many uncertainties with which the new college was faced. They were rewarded and gratified by your spirit of adventure and the willingness, nay, the eagerness with which you set about the job of laying a sound foundation for those who would follow you. He went on, the career you have entered upon will not bring you riches, but a bounty of other rewards await those who follow it through. Consequently, um, conscientiously to the end. Perhaps the most satisfying of these will be looking on at those whose lives you will have been fortunate enough to influence. However, slightly as they go on to carve out secure riches for themselves in our turbulent world. And so he says that he has 4 ideas that he ventures in all humility to suggest, and he considers these to be of importance. One, the pupil is the most important member of the school. After all, without him, there would be no school. He deserves as much respect from the staff and the principal as they from him. Two, principal and staff should always remember that they are by law fully responsible for their pupils' moral and physical safety from the moment pupil enters the school compound until the moment they leave it. 3. It is extremely easy to lose the confidence of those you are supposed to guide. It is well nigh impossible to regain confidence that has been lost. And finally, number 4, the teacher must never be influenced by gossip. In fact, should never hear it. He should warn anyone bringing secret information that they may proceed only at the peril of being quoted. I wish you all many happy years of association with the youth of our country. E.A. Barrett, Chairman of the Board of Governors, Sam Sharpe Teachers College. Sam Sharpe, national hero after whom the college is named. Sam Sharpe was a man who imagined and inspired the 1831 slave rebellion, which began on the Kensington estate in St. James and which was instrumental in bringing about the abolition of slavery in Jamaica. Sharpe, who is said to have been born around 1780, was the slave of an English lawyer who gave him his name. He was described as stocky with a handsomely molded frame. Sam was well treated by his master, it is claimed, received special privileges, and as a result became quite literate. He read local newspapers and was aware of the effort made in England for the abolition of slavery and the opposition to the scheme by the local planters. As a result of the work of the missionaries, many slaves became religious, and their conversion to Christianity gave them faith in the future and hope that Christians in other places were fighting their cause for freedom. Sam Sharpe, Daddy Sharpe, became a deacon at the Baptist church and was a leader of a mission church. Religious meetings were the ones that were permitted at the time. Sam Sharpe used these meetings to communicate his concern and to encourage political thought about events in England, which affected the slaves in Jamaica. At those meetings, Sam Sharpe recruited aid who prepared the slaves for peaceful demonstration during the Christmas holidays in 1831. The slaves were to sit down and refuse work until their master acknowledged that they were free and agreed to pay them wages. Sharpe, of course, expected that whites would try to intimidate the strikers by shooting hostages as example, but the slaves were not expected to fight back, but to continue passive resistance. The militia heard about the impending strike and marched against the slaves of Kensington Estate with the intention of forcing them to work. The slaves resisted, setting afire the estate building. In the uprising which followed, Sam Sharpe was captured, imprisoned, and condemned to die. While in prison, he was visited by many notable missionaries who paid tribute to his great intellect and oratory. Uh, Sharpe's crime was that he tried to recover liberty, which is the right of every human being, and of which he and his people had been deprived. The, the Sam Sharpe story is one of inspiration. It's one that motivates and encourages every student that enter the hallowed halls of Sam Sharpe Teachers College. And the critical thing to remember is that our motto, service, commitment, excellence, would have been the cornerstone of the way that Sam Sharpe, Daddy Sharpe, functioned while he was alive, serving as a deacon. Again, our national hero, Sam Sharpe, after whom the Teachers College is named.
The first principal of Sam Sharpe Teachers College is none other than Dr. Simon Clark, the beloved, the adored, the one that these students from 1975 to 1979, even today in 2020, speak adoringly of, because of his visionary work, of his pioneering work, of his selfless dedication to the people of Western Jamaica, to the students who grace the halls of Sam Sharpe Teachers College. And many of us, myself included, will always remember Simon, as some of us affectionately called him, when he would say, "Remember, service, commitment, excellence, service, commitment, excellence." From Dr. Simon Clark, Sam Sharpe Teachers College began operating on September 29, 1975, This institution, which was built by a joint venture of the government of Jamaica and the World Bank, admitted 150 students, 39 of whom were men. They came from all parishes of the island. We can well remember that first day when bewildered looking students made their way up the hill through the mud and the grime of unpaved roads and piles of freshly mixed cement. The concrete blocks, the building were not ready, and the contractors thought that we were out of our minds to even think of starting on that day, but we did. The water and the electricity were not fully connected, and the only furniture we had then were beds, classroom desks, and chairs, and basic kitchen equipment. The Pioneer students immediately had to fall on a number of chores. They had to fetch water from a tank some distance away and had to begin the cleaning up operation. When this was done, since there was hardly any topsoil anywhere, earth had to be brought and spread and grass planted. The original landscaping was done by this group of students. After a week of orientation, their courses began. Early childhood and primary education were the two areas of emphasis. The objective of the college are fourfold, and these are they: to give our students 1, a sound academic training; 2, a sound professional training; 3, opportunities for the fullest possible personal development; and 4, to show students how to use their academics, their professional, and their personal accomplishment for the community development. We see the role of education as being essentially connected with the community development and the improvement of the quality of life of the lives of the people. Students, therefore, have been required to participate in at least one approved community activity. Some of these activities are story hour and art sessions for children, youth club work, home visitation, work with senior citizens, Jamal, community recreation, and basic education class, running a day school at the pediatric department of the Cornwall Regional Hospital for hospitalized children. The college has also begun a service program to schools in which equipment for science, physical education, and the teaching of reading is made available on loan to primary schools. The program began in schools which we have placed interns, but will be extended to other schools as soon as our resources permit. Schools in this program are serviced by a teacher resources van, which was procured through the assistance of the Canadian University Services Overseas and the Rotary Club of Calgary, Canada. The van was equipped and stocked with assistance of the Overseas Book Center and the Ministry of Education. The enrollment of the college at the end of June 1978 stood at 468 students. Further expansion will depend on the construction of Phase 2 buildings, which will take in an additional 200 students for courses in secondary education. I wish to thank the Board of Governors, our teaching, administrative, and ancillary staff, and all our students for their great support in getting this institution off the ground. My best wishes go to our graduates. I must remind them that whatever they do must be done with, here we go, Simon Clark, service, commitment, excellence. Service, commitment, excellence. Simon A. Clark. This is at the end of the 3 years for the pioneering student, having come in 1975, and we're now getting ready to graduate in 1978, the very year that I attended. I do want to go back to the things that Simon Clark mentioned, Dr. Simon Clark, about how students were being required to participate in these community activities. And that included the story hour, art session for children, youth club work, home visitation, work with senior citizens, Jamal, community recreation, and basic education classes. I became a social worker and I'm now a professor of social work. And I think the seeds were planted because when I attended Sam Sharpe in 1978, these work study programs had expanded. But when you look at the base of these work, like home visitation and story hour, art session, this is core social work. And so I, as a social work educator today in 2020, I look back with fond memories of our work study program and realized that the seeds were being planted for me and many others for the work that we'll do later on in life. Thank you, Dr. Simon Clark, for being the visionary that you were, are, and continue to be. May God continue to bless you with long life. Here we have a list of some of the pioneer staff members. I'm not sure how much you can see, but I can recognize um, Dr. Simon Clark, Father Cohen. Uh, I can also recognize Mr. Stewart, Miss, Mrs. Miss Joy Mighty, and the second principal of the institution, and that would be Dr. Cecile Walden, and the um, Mrs. Cook. No, that's not Mrs. Cook. Mrs. Um, she taught history of education. I'm drawing a blank. I know somebody will help me with that name, and the lady at the back between Father Cohen and Mr. Stewart. I also know her name, but I'm drawing a blank. So those are Pioneer. And then the Bursa is below. And of course, Matron Gray is right here. I could never forget Matron Gray because she was certainly one of my saviors. And the administrative staff, I know all three people here, and I just need to remember their names. Um, and that will come, I'm sure, with another in another video. But again, I mean, in another photo. I know the pioneers will recognize these people, and I'm sorry I'm not able to fill in the blank as much as I wanted to. I know the faces and just not remember the name as we speak.
We'll now do a roll call for the class of 75, starting with Dorothy Anderson, Nora Authors, Lena Archibald, Laurel Barnett, Julian Beckford, Maxine Beresing, Cinderella Bennett, Nalda Black, Colin Bent, Lynette Boyd, Beverly Bremer, Audrey Brooks, Audrey Brown, Norma Brown, Paulette Brown, Vivienne Brown, Paulette Buckner, Hilary Black, Blanche, I'm sorry, Hilary Blanche, Norma Campbell, and Claudette Cole. And of the second list here, it's Margaret Campbell, Mervelina Carney, Paulette Christie, Monica Cheer, Monica Craig, Joyce Drummonds, Marita Daly, Weston Dawkins, Leonie Del Rish, Desmond Dorman, Joycelyn Downer, Carmen Ellis, Barrington Fernandez, and of the the four people at the bottom, I'm not able to make out their name clearly, except for Willery Graham. And Willery Graham is actually hidden behind my picture on the screen. I will bring mention these folks in a subsequent picture.
And we continue with a list of pioneers. I think we've called this list before. And from this side, Icoline Simpson, Jeffrey Smichael, Albert Smith, Unita Smith, Ida Smith, Lawrence Smith, Paulette Smith, Carlene Soares, Rainford Trail, Lily Turner, Marlon Thomas, Leona Thompson, Pansy Thompson, Florence Wilkinson, Hilda White, Yvonne Woolcock, Dolores Waite, Herman Walker, Maureen Watson, Selma Wauchope. And the final list we have here, Rowena Whitelock, Bethune Wilson, Joycelyn Wilson, Petrona Wilson, Clarice Williams, Vinette Walker, Imogen Williams, Jennifer Williams, Leslie Williams, Michael Williams, Norma Williams, Winifred Williams. And I know Leslie Williams is still at this business of teaching. He is currently in the Cayman Islands. And we say congratulations to all these pioneering members who are still making their mark and making their contribution to education the world over.
Not attempt to name all the the academic staff in this photo, but some of you will remember Billy Cook on the far right, Mr. Stewart um, on the far left, Miss Mighty is there, Reverend Green. You can see Father Cohen. You see the principal, Simon Clark, Cecile Walden. You see Miss Cook. You see Mr. Jackson, Mr. Plummer. You see Miss Rod, Mr. Crick, among others. And in another photo, I will list all the people seen. I'm not able to recognize all these pioneer academic staff, but the ones I've mentioned, I can identify. And then of the administrative staff, I can definitely make out Mr. Samuels, the bursar, Miss Buck. During my internship year, Peter Simpson and I were renters at her house um, in the area that we lived. I could also see Miss Allen, Miss McLeod, Miss Richards, among others in this administrative staff group.
Then the next group is to find a name. Let's see how smart you are. You could pause this video and search for a name. You have people in here like Joy Mighty, Blossom Stokes, and Cecile Walden. Um, you have Wesley Green, Carmen Sargent, Alice Rod, Gloria Roach. That's a name I'd forgotten earlier on, as well as Redway, Miss Redway. But these are some of the names that you can find in here. So you could pause, take a screenshot, and see how many names you could actually find on your own. Um, on here we have the great um, Alma Lawrence. The, the heading there is Abel Alma. It said during the past 3 years, Sam Sharpe's most successful sport personality has been Alma Lawrence. At the 1976 Intercollegiate Meet, she won Sam Sharpe maiden and only medal, a gold in high jump, equaling the meet record. This performance led Alma's selection to represent Jamaica at the third International Caribbean Student Athletics Meet held in the Dominican Republic on May 4, 1977. Of the 6 medals Jamaica won, Alma got 2, a silver in the high jump of 5 feet 2.5 inches, and a bronze in the long jump. The 78 Intercol Athletics Meet saw Alma once again among the medal in the high jump, and she managed to gain a silver with a leap of 5 feet 3, and the long jump of bronze was her reward for a jump of 17 feet 2.5 inches. We thank her for her contribution in college sport and for helping to establish Sam Sharpe on the Teachers College map. That is Abel Alma. Other sport team include football and netball, as well as cricket for Sam Sharpe. And here is the beloved, the Reverend Billy Cook, the first music instructor at Sam Sharpe Teachers College, and he was certainly there when. Here's a little quiz for those who want to go down memory lane. It's Guess Who, and for those from the early years can recognize the gap tooth, or I should say the gap between the teeth, and recognize that is, did you take your guess? Yes, it is Alice J. Rod. And